Hi, I'm Pete Galindo. I'm the former postmaster of the El Toro and Irvine Post Office. I started my career as a letter carrier at the La Mirada Post Office after serving for 4 years in the United States Air Force. Now in my second career as a real estate agent, I'm still in the business of serving people. I'm here to help you, your family, friends, and neighbors with all of their real estate needs. I can promise you integrity and outstanding customer service. I've decided to hang my license with Mark One Real Estate in the City of Orange. They are a full-service real estate company specializing in buying and selling homes, loan mortgages, refinancing, loan modification, escrow, the Wealth Academy, and educating all of our clients. I'd like to turn this presentation over to Paul Bond, my coach and mentor. Paul is a Director of Business Development for Mark One Real Estate. Paul has over 30 years of experience in real estate as an investor. Paul's going to talk about a marketing strategy called Monopoly Game 2, a marketing strategy that's easy to implement and has 3 goals. 1, buy your own home without monthly payments. 2, create ongoing income that increases automatically. 3, leave a legacy of wealth for your family. I know you'll enjoy learning about this marketing strategy and be even more excited about starting your own Monopoly game. And without further ado, here's Paul Bond.
Thanks, Pete. Whether you answered the ad in the Federal Postal Worker Union newsletter because you're interested in refinancing, or maybe you're thinking about buying your first home, or you've got some real estate questions about maybe investing, irrespective of what your motivation is, I want to take 10 minutes and share with you a strategy that I believe will educate you and motivate you and really open the door of so many more options for you in your quest to be financially free like all of us. Let's start with the condition, the financial condition of our country. Right now, Americans are going backwards financially. Less than 5% are financially secure. Isn't that amazing? 46% of every single American in the United States is on some type of government assistance. 75% of Americans cannot pay their bills without family and friends helping them. The truth is we're financially illiterate, and over 85 to 90% of us really will never have the resources to retire. That is not acceptable. So we have a strategy that I learned as a young boy. My father was a real estate broker right here in Orange County in the 60s and 70s, and he sat me down and shared with me a strategy that he implemented over and over and over again, and we call it the Monopoly Game 2 strategy because it involves 2 investments, 2 real estate investments that will set you free and build you the legacy and the regular income that you can retire on. Doesn't that sound exciting? Imagine a life without money worries, where your monthly house payment is gone. You have a home without any mortgage payments. Secondly, you have income that's coming in on a regular basis. And thirdly, you have the opportunity to leave a legacy of wealth for your family. So why is this so difficult? Well, we all know how difficult it is to save money. And your house is the key to saving money because it grows in value. The rents, if you rent it out, increase. Second reason Americans having such difficulty is we have a consumer mindset, and we need to transition from just a consumer to an investor to start thinking about investments, to start thinking about how to create wealth, how to create income. Thinking about it helps and starts the process. We can help solve those problems. Let me share with you this strategy and how easy it is, because the truth is your home is your gateway to retirement. It's your gateway to secure a home with no mortgage payments. It's a gateway to have retirement income that continues to grow and an opportunity to leave a legacy of wealth for your family. So let's do a comparison real quickly. We're going to compare from 1990 to 2015, those 25 years. We're going to compare an investment of $12,615 in the stock market, the Dow Jones Industrials, And we're going to compare $12,615 investment in real estate, and we're going to follow it for the next 25 years. You can see the graph here, what's happened to real estate. It's gone up, it's gone down, it's gone up, it's gone down in 25 years. And pretty much the same thing in the Dow Jones Industrials, the stock market, up and down, up and down, up and down. And so if you were to invest and buy $12,615 and change of the stock market or real estate, how would those two compare? Well, in this case, you would buy $12,615.75 of the Dow Jones Industrials, but you'd be able to buy a $200,000 house. That's 5% down, the balance in closing costs, a $200,000 house. Well, 5 years later, 25 years later, they continue to grow, right? And so when it all boils out, the stock market gains you almost 100,000, but the real estate grew triple, over 300,000. The return on investment in the stock market, 700%. The return on investment in real estate, 2,500%. If you average it year over year, it's a 9% return year over year versus a 14% return year over year. Clearly, real estate outperforms the stock market every time. So, speaking of real estate, the game of Monopoly invented by two real estate brokers during the Great Depression, this is the two investment strategy. Now, most people that play Monopoly, when they buy a property on the Monopoly board, they want to buy Boardwalk or Park Place, the most expensive properties on the board right before you pass go. Why do they want to do that? Just like us. We want to buy the most expensive, best house we can afford. Sometimes that's not the best strategy. What I want to suggest is that you purchase, if you haven't bought a home yet, buy the rental property first. Instead of buying the most expensive home, the most beautiful home, buy the rental property first. Transition maybe from an apartment into a nicer apartment, a condominium. From a house you're renting to a similar house you're renting. Not much more expensive. So in other words, a property you can really afford. In this case, let's say an example is a $400,000 home. Your down payment is $14,000. Your first trust deed, your payments are $1,843. Taxes and insurance, $2,372. Principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Sometimes that payment truly is a pity, isn't it? In this case, here's the key. When you buy this property, have you noticed from 1990 to 2015, actually from the onset of this nation till today, have you ever noticed rents decrease? It's because they haven't. So your cash flow in this property, your payments are $2,372. Somewhere down the line, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years down the line, as rents continue to go up, you're still living there, but now your property is worth more money. So you're going to take some of that equity out and reinvest it. But during that time, rents have gone up. 5 years later, what you could rent the property for the payment today, 5 years later, that property is renting for over $3,000. So there's $600 and some of positive cash flow. 10 years later, that property will rent for $3,600. 15 years later, $4,456. So when you pull some of that money out, that's right, that tenant is going to be making your new house payment. And very quickly, that tenant is going to be, as his rent increases, you're now getting a positive cash flow. What do you do with that positive cash flow? You've bought another home. You're making those payments. What you do with that extra money, instead of spending it, you pay down that mortgage. So that first house you bought, 15 years later, is paid off. Free and clear. Now you're making that $4,456 a month, and you're keeping it all, or you're applying it toward your current house to pay that one off as well. Do you see the strategy? The strategy is to buy and keep. We're not talking about flipping. We're not talking about speculating. We're not talking about buying and selling. You buy it, you keep it, you pay it off. It's the golden goose that lays the eggs every single month. I'm excited about the strategy because I've seen it work over and over again in my family members, in my investor clients, in my friends. It really does work. It takes a little bit of patience, takes a little bit of planning, but it works, and it's almost foolproof. You'll see why. So the Monopoly Game 2 strategy, you buy the second property. In this case, somewhere 7-10 years later after you bought the first one, you move out. You pull some of that equity out, $18,725. You buy that $535,000 home, a little bit nicer. Your wife's happy. The kids are happy. Everybody's got their own room. Your payments now with principal, interest, taxes, and insurance are $3,200 or $3,172. So here we take a look 25 years later. The first property, if it goes up 4% a year, the national average is 6%, but if it goes up 4% a year, 25 years later, that property is worth almost $1.6 million. Your current property at 4%, 20 some years later, is worth over $1,400,000. A net worth of over $3 million, but remember, we're not going to sell these properties. So it doesn't matter if they go up in value. What if they didn't go up in value at all? They're still worth the $400,000 and the $535,000 you paid for it. What we do know is this: rents will continue to go up. So it doesn't matter if the property never goes up in value. That's huge. It doesn't matter what the values do. As they go up and down, I'm not planning on selling. I'm going to rent it out and take the money. Enjoy that income. Provide housing, decent, good housing for other people. Do you see how this strategy really works? It virtually is almost foolproof. We see people generating $8,000 to $10,000 a month today, having invested 10 and 15 years from now. It can happen quick. On the other hand, it might take 20 or 25 years. But either way, if you've got 20 years before you retire, in every case we can get you there. We can get you there. So the Monopoly game, as you know, when you buy 3 of a kind, all the Virginia or the Indiana place, then you can put houses on there and charge, that's right, a bigger rent when they land on your space. Well, what happens when you have even more properties and more income? You can trade those houses for a hotel. And that's what's called a 1031 tax-deferred exchange. You see, the inventors of a Monopoly game really were real estate brokers. And that's exactly what you can do. Let's say you get a little more aggressive and you have 2 or 3 properties. Or when these 2 properties are paid off, you decide, I want to go live down on the beach. I want to live right on the sand. I'm going to rent a little studio apartment. Me and the wife are going to retire and run on the beach every night. Well, you could take those 2 properties that now have a lot of equity that are paid off, trade them up into 8 units, and be able to easily afford living on the beach. How does that feel? Think about it. Retirement guaranteed. Without having to save money. Without having to do anything other than just make your payment that you can afford, and when the time is right, invest one other time. 2 investment strategy. As I mentioned, you may not have been coming to this video to hear about the strategy, but I know it's piqued your curiosity and it has your attention. I'd like to invite you to take the next step, fill out the information. Pete Galindo and I would love to come over and meet you personally, share how this plan, and just really educate you on some of the strategies, some of the options for you. There's no obligation. There's nothing to buy. We're not going to try to sell you books or courses. Truly, this is education, because when you're educated, you will be able to know what your strategy is for yourself. Thank you so much. Talk to you guys soon. God bless you.